The Galactic Union had a saying, Class 3 worlds don't grow civilizations, they bury them. For centuries, the official stance was that any species originating from such a planet would never survive long enough to escape its atmosphere. Class 2 civilization struggled enough. Class I was considered a miracle. Class 3 was simply death wearing weather patterns. That belief died the moment the scanners found the echo of arc light. The vessel drifted alone in the void, scarred with impacts and hull burns, orbiting an abandoned mining moon near the edge of regulated space. Most crews would have turned away the moment its classification pinged the scanners. But Captain Rhea Vallon wasn't most crews. She stared at the designation on the main view screen, Origin, Class 3 Deathworld, and quietly told her team to suit up. Rhea was composed, strategic, the kind of leader who never raised her voice because she never needed to. Her calm was contagious. It also made everyone wonder what storm she'd survived before command. As the shuttle departed the mothership, she cataloged risk factors in her head, methodical as a surgeon. Gravity fluctuations, temperature instability, unknown biological threats. And one more, curiosity. The shuttle carried only 4. Rhea believed in small teams, less noise, clearer purpose. Dr. Malik Ortega, the problem solver, checked his equipment for the 6th time. Half of it was custom-built from spare parts. Malik was a patchwork genius, armed with duct tape and theories. He'd once claimed that the universe didn't hate life. It just tested how badly life wanted to exist. Across from him sat Alia Sori, the dreamer, linguist, historian, and occasional poet. Her eyes held the kind of hope that made people uncomfortable. She believed every civilization, no matter how advanced, carried stories in its bones, and she meant to find them. Then there was Kipran, the wild card. Hacker, pilot, breaker of rules and occasionally physics. He sat reclined, arms folded, smirking like the universe was a joke only he understood. They once tried to reassign him off the team. Rhea declined, claiming unpredictability had tactical value. The shuttle docked with a metallic groan that echoed through the cabin. Interior scans showed the ship was still running minimal power. Gravity flickered between stable and non-existent. Malik fastened magnetic clamps to his boots. Kip didn't, just to prove he didn't need them. The airlock opened. Silence greeted them like an old friend. Inside, the corridors were battered. Panels replaced with mismatched parts. Wiring exposed. Everything seemed both broken and held together in defiance. They found scorch marks on the walls, evidence of combat or desperate repairs. Malik knelt beside a coolant unit sealed with tightened zip ties. He let out a low whistle. Either geniuses or lunatics, he muttered. Possibly both. Rhea scanned the ship's internal layout. It didn't follow standard architectural logic. It followed necessity, as if its builders assumed every design might need changing mid-flight. Alia ran her hand across the wall panels. Some were replaced with different alloys. Others bore etchings, symbols, initials, fragments of language. Human, definitely human. She whispered, almost reverently. They built this expecting space to fight back. Further in, the atmosphere fluctuated abruptly. Malik's visor fogged. Moments later, it nearly cracked from heat. Systems sputtered like a fading heartbeat. Despite countless failures, redundant mechanisms remained intact. Adaptive, resilient, improvised. They reached the door sealed from the inside. Scorch marks ringed the frame, as though someone had tried and failed to force it open. The locking system followed no known pattern. Human code, but raw, built without a standard framework. Kip's grin widened. Finally, something fun. 5 minutes later, the door unlocked with a triumphant beep. He winked at Malik. Boot clamp still working, by the way. The room beyond was small and bare. A single flickering light, and one message, written directly on the inner panel in black marker. If you're reading this, tell Earth we made it. The words froze the air around them. Alia examined the handwriting. Hasty, angled, human. Not a log entry, she murmured. A farewell. Malik found traces of human biology nearby. Skin cells, sweat residues, stress markers off the charts. Whoever was here, they fought to the end. He said it clinically, but his voice carried weight. Rhea tapped her comm, send this to command. Confirmation of human origin. This vessel was not just operated by humans. It was built by them. Silence followed, not just from the ship, but from command itself. The Galactic Union's reply arrived after a delay that felt like judgment. Confirm origin. Class 3 confirmed? Are you certain? Rhea replied with a still image of the wall message. That ended the debate. Alia wandered the room slowly, studying every detail. She imagined the last human standing here, unsure if anyone would ever read their words. She found a small object wedged in a corner, an audio chip, damaged but partially functional. She handed it to Rhea, who slotted it into her scanner. The playback was faint, distorted by time. Breach in reactor segment 3, system failing, mission incomplete, but Earth can still. Static swallowed the rest. Kip crosses arms. So they survived a Class 3 Deathworld just to die in space. Rhea shook her head. They didn't die quietly. That matters. The group retraced their path to the central corridors, stepping over fractured metal and abandoned tools. Some equipment was alien in origin, repurposed, modified, adapted beyond recognition. Humans had made foreign technology work, even when it was never meant for them. That kind of creativity unsettled the Galactic Union. Adaptability on that scale suggested potential beyond prediction. As they reached the command deck, a flicker of power surged through the ship, like a breath drawn after nearly drowning. Consoles illuminated just enough to reveal external hull monitors. Outside, stars shimmered across the void like distant promises. Alia stared. Maybe they didn't fail, she said softly. Maybe they left something behind on purpose. Rhea didn't answer. Instead, she stepped and touched the main terminal. The system required a biometric input, but not from them, from someone human. Malik leaned in. If we can access the logs, we might find out why they came here. Kip cracked his knuckles. And how they built this thing without blowing themselves, and possibly the galaxy up. For the first time since boarding, Rhea allowed herself a hint of a smile. Then we find answers. For them and for us. Behind them, the words on the wall remained, lit evenly by the revived emergency lights. They seemed almost alive now, like a message refusing to fade. Tell Earth we made it. The engines of the ship groaned, once silent, now stirring, like something waiting to be heard again. The light stabilized for 12 seconds, just long enough for Malik to announce he was going first. He stepped forward, ignoring the flicker of gravity that made Rhea momentarily weightless. His boots clicked against a metallic floor, but Alia noticed something strange. The ship's hum seemed to shift with their presence, as if listening. The corridor ahead narrowed and split into 3 paths, each marked with the same scratch symbol, a triangle bisected by a line, repeated like a signature. Alia inspected it carefully. It's not a warning. It's a direction marker, a system of navigation, built during crisis. Rhea nodded once. Then the humans aboard assumed they would need this, more than once. They followed the central path. Temperature fluctuated, sharp pockets of cold and sudden heat, like the weather ever gotten its boundaries. Malik recorded data feverishly. These shifts aren't random. The systems are still trying to regulate atmosphere. They just can't decide who to protect. Alia considered that. Who? Not what? Kip drifted momentarily when gravity failed again. He snapped the tether to a railing and laughed. Weightlessness builds character. Malik replied dryly, so would falling into a vent fan. Kip grinned wider. That's why I don't do that. Rhea didn't look back, though her glance at the scanner hid amusement. The next chamber was circular, walls lined with improvised equipment. Some pieces were welded together from incompatible materials, alien alloys and human scrap. Alia found inscriptions burned into the metal, fragments of personal names, unit designations, and short affirmations like tomorrow still exists. She traced the words slowly. They didn't just build a ship, she whispered. They built hope out of spare parts. Malik called them over to a sealed container. Inside were tools, some standard, some entirely original. The most notable was a multi-tool cobble from disparate parts, still carrying traces of sweat and heat. He lifted it reverently. Humanity may be the only species that sees a broken thing and calls it potential. Gravity surged without warning. Kip landed hard, swore loudly, then announced, "I still like the ship, but I'm no longer convinced it likes me." Malik scanned his arm. Only bruised. That counts as friendship on Class 3 worlds. Rhea moved them forward before conversation drifted further into chaos. At the end of the chamber loomed a reinforced door, heavily sealed, with melted edges and cracked panels. Scorch marks surrounded the frame like a history of violent attempts to force entry or prevent exit. Rhea checked the lock. Human-coded. Kip stepped in with a grin that suggested risky enthusiasm. 5 minutes. Rhea raised an eyebrow. "You get 3. He opened it in 2. The door slid back to reveal a lean workspace. Maps, broken consoles, half-finished repairs. A single chair faced a wall of monitors. Rhea's eyes narrowed. Command center. Secondary, not primary. Malik examined the diagnostic screens. They showed adaptive systems reacting to threats, radiation spikes, hull breaches, power failures, almost rhythmically. They weren't just surviving, he muttered. They were teaching the ship how to survive with them. Alia found a data slate. Cracked but legible. It contained logs, short, desperate entries from unnamed crew. Hull compromised. But we learned 3 new ways to seal it. Food is nearly gone. Growing fungus in Section 12. It tastes like regret. Reactor unstable. If we go, we want Earth to know we tried. Kip leaned back against the console, expression faltering. They could have given up. They didn't. Rhea replied quietly. That's why this ship is still here. A buzzing sound cut through the silence. Mechanical, deliberate. Malik turned sharply. A maintenance drone emerged from a hidden hatch. Rusted but functional. Its scanner eyed them with suspicion. Rhea raised her hand slowly. Alia stayed calm. Kip immediately reached for his sidearm. Malik intervened first. He tossed an energy cell onto the floor gently and knelt beside it. Look, compatible power source. The drone paused, scanned Malik, then the cell. Its posture softened, accepting the offering. A compartment opened, storing the power gently as if it had been waiting for it. Alia stared in awe. They programmed this drone to recognize generosity. Kip snorted. That may be the most terrifying thing I've heard all day. But Rhea noted something important. The drone was trying to repair a cracked console, but its tools were worn and inefficient. Malik examined its patterns. If we help it finish the repair, it might give access to the primary databank. Rhea nodded. Do it. Malik improvised quickly, rewiring hardware with fragment of insulation and a protein bar wrapper. Kip watched in disbelief. That's not going to. A soft chime interrupted him. Systems brought themselves online as though waking from a long sleep. The drone's eye flickered in what might have been gratitude before it powered down silently. Lights across the console brightened. Data streamed in alien alphabets and human languages. Navigation logs. Personal notes. A single file caught everyone's attention. Mission parameters. Rhea opened it. A voice spoke, raspy, exhausted, undeniably human. We came here because no one thought we could. If this ship is found, know this. Class 3 didn't break us. It made us clever. Then came projection, an itinerary through uncharted space, labeled with coordinates of abandoned outposts, scavenged tech hubs, and temporary shelters. The journey wasn't neat. It was chaotic, nonlinear, but undeniably deliberate. A roadmap of persistence. Alia's voice trembled. These weren't warriors. They were explorers, improvisers. Malik leaned over the terminal. They didn't just adapt. They anticipated. Rhea studied the data for a long moment. This wasn't a last mission. It was a beginning. Suddenly, the console beeped a warning. External sensors flared to life. A proximity alarm activated. Something was approaching from beyond the mining moon. Kip accessed a feed. His grin vanished. Ships incoming. Not Union. Not friendly. Malik's voice dropped. Krell. A predatory species known for destroying anything hailing from Deathworlds. Fear, to them, was strategy. Rhea looked at her team. We don't leave. We learn, and we use what they left behind. She gestured to the terminal, active and waiting. These humans didn't retreat. Neither do we. Malik cracked his knuckles. Kip rolled his shoulders. Alia closed her eyes briefly, almost in prayer. The ship hummed around them like a heartbeat, and for the first time since it was abandoned, the echo of Arclight felt alive. The first Krell ship appeared on the external monitors like a spreading shadow, its claws of metal unfurled, releasing scanning waves sharp enough to peel hull plating. The echo of Arclight registered the threat instantly. Systems groaned awake, indicators flashing red across the terminal. The ship remembered battle. Malik's voice tightened. They're not broadcasting identification. They're hunting. Rhea stood still, assessing the ship's condition. It had one advantage. Survival had been designed into every bolt. She placed a hand on the terminal and spoke calmly. We are not prey. Activate core access. The ship responded. Power pulsed to the lower decks like blood, rediscovering circulation. Directional lights lit a path to the corridor ahead, as if the vessel itself was guiding them. Alia followed quietly, studying each panel. It's responding to human patterns, she murmured. Recognition, muscle memory. Kip walked near the rear, hand on his sidearm. Let's hope it also recognizes people like humans. His attempt at humor landed flat. The Krell ships multiplied on the scanner. The core chamber stood at the end of a narrow stairwell. The door was substantial, reinforced, scarred, and marked with that same bisection symbol they had seen earlier. Malik hesitated before touching it. This was added later, not a factory design. Rhea pushed it open. The room was small, too quiet. A single terminal waited at the center, surrounded by modular power conduits, each labeled with improvised markings, half human, half symbolic. Loose panels revealed areas that had been built, rebuilt, and rebuilt again. This room wasn't pristine. It was scarred with purpose. Alia approached the terminal. Permission request, she noted. It wants a human signature, actual biometric confirmation. Rhea stepped forward. She hesitated, then placed her palm onto the screen. The ship accepted her instantly. A holographic projection reignited, grainy, flickering, but unmistakably human. The final captain of the Echo of Arclight appeared, sitting in the same chair Alia now leaned against. Her face was gaunt, her voice strained, but fierce. If you're here, then we didn't make it home. Doesn't matter. We tried. Every breath we took, we tried. Rhea remained still as the message continued. The others think Class 3 means death. They're wrong. Class 3 means life fights back. Our home didn't give us peace. It gave us grit. Malik listened with a reverence usually reserved for ancient texts. Kip leaned against the door, eyes lowered. Alia whispered, She's speaking to us like we're the next chapter. The projection continued, detailing the mission. They had ventured into uncharted sectors to locate species living just beyond the margin of survival. Not to conquer, to learn. They believed hardship forged innovation. And maybe, just maybe, shared struggle could forge unity. But then the voice hardened. The Krell came. They see us as a threat, not because we are violent, but because we endure. They're afraid of anything that refuses to break. Malik's fist clenched. The data matched the scans. Krell ships were circling, preparing to strike. Alia stepped forward. Did any humans survive? The recording didn't answer directly. Instead, the captain looked toward the lens as if she saw them. If Earth hasn't reached the stars yet, help them. Tell them we believed they would. The message ended in static. For a moment, silence claimed the chamber. Then the console pinged. A prompt for action. 2 buttons appeared. Restrict access and activate defense protocols. A third line faded in, warning. Hostile presence detected. Kip spoke first. We use the defenses. Scare the Krell off before they hit us. Malik shook his head. These systems are barely stable. One wrong surge and the entire core collapses. The ship could self-destruct. Rhea absorbed both arguments. Alia stepped closer to the holographic terminal and repeated the words she saw etched on the wall in the first chamber. Tell Earth we made it. Her voice held clarity. They didn't want war. They wanted to be understood. Rhea made her decision. No weapons. she said. We activate communication protocol. If the Krell are afraid of our persistence, let's use that. Kip stared at her. You want to bluff a war-hungry species? Rhea offered her faint signature smile. We have their entire language databank. They think only predators survive Class 3 worlds. Let's show them what humans are really like. Malik began rerouting the terminal's interface to external comms. Methodical, focused, Alia translated a fragment of logs into a coherent narrative. Short sentences describing ingenuity, cooperation, and hope. Rhea structured them into a broadcast. We speak not as conquerors, but as survivors. Kip reluctantly joined, hacking into the remaining encryption to boost signal strength. I swear, he muttered. If we survive this with speech, history's going to think we made it up. The Krell ships locked targeting arrays. Their attack countdown spiked on all displays. Rhea spoke into the comm. This is Captain Rhea Valen, representing the humans of the Echo of Arclight. We are not predators. We are builders. Data streamed outward. A cascade of human innovation logged across decades. Medical breakthroughs forged in crisis. Technologies built under pressure. Survival methods using creativity, not aggression. Alia added a final line from the logs. We endure not to destroy, but to discover. For a breathless moment, nothing happened. Then the Krell ships paused. Their scanners dimmed. Their formation shifted. From attack posture to uncertainty. Kip exhaled. Did that actually work? Malik nodded slowly, checking the data feed. They're confused, assessing threat levels. They don't know how to categorize us. Alia smiled faintly. Then we just changed the galactic vocabulary. Rhea kept her gaze fixed forward. We don't flee, she said quietly. Not from this. Not from what they left behind. Seconds ticked away. The Krell retreated, not far, but enough. Watching, waiting, underestimating no longer. System diagnostics stabilized. The ship hummed steadily, as though approving their choice. Alia took one last look at the hololog. She never asked for victory, she murmured. Only understanding. Kip checked the scanners again. We've bought time, but not safety. They'll be back, with more questions or more weapons. Rhea nodded. Then we go deeper. This ship still has secrets, and we'll need every one of them. Lights illuminated a previously sealed hatch deeper in the deck. A new path, a new risk. Malik smiled slightly. Looks like the ship has one more test for us. They stepped toward it together. The newly illuminated passageway led to the lowest level of the ship, its heart and its history. As they descended, a strange calm settled across the corridors. No temperature fluctuations, no gravity failures. Malik ran a quick scan and blinked. Everything down here is stable. Systems are prioritizing this deck. Alia inhaled slowly, as though it saved its last breath for the truth. The final chamber opened with a soft hiss. Inside, light fell gently across an array of terminals, photographs, and storage drives organized with deliberate care. It felt less like a war room and more like a memorial. Rhea stepped forward and found a message etched into the floor plating. We didn't come here to be remembered. We came so someone else could continue. The words echoed through the silence. Malik approached the terminal and accessed the data. What he found stunned him. The crew had cataloged their innovations, failures, and breakthroughs with obsessive detail. Environmental repairs, terraforming concepts, biological adaptations. They had tested how far ingenuity could stretch in a cruel universe, and preserved every method that worked. These aren't logs, Malik said. They're lessons. His voice carried reverence. Survival curriculum for anyone who comes next. Alia's eyes glistened. It's what cooperation looks like when time runs out. Kip found a sealed compartment on the far wall. Its lock was archaic, manual, not digital. He opened it carefully. Inside rested a small sphere, brushed metal, engraved with dozens of signatures. Human names. Hundreds of them. Malik traced the engravings gently. They didn't travel as a crew, he murmured. They traveled as a legacy. Rhea activated the nearby console. A final recording began. Quieter than the others, intimate. The human captain reappeared, exhausted but resolute. We built this ship because we were tired of hearing what was impossible. If you find this, know that we believed Earth would reach you. And when it does, it won't come alone. Rhea stood motionless. Alia whispered. They didn't fear isolation. They defied it. Outside the ship, the Krell lingered in orbit, observing but not attacking. Malik interpreted their movements. They're confused. They expected predators. But they found something else entirely. Rhea replied, let them watch. Understanding always starts with curiosity. Kip checked fuel diagnostics. We got enough power to launch, but not enough for escape. Rhea nodded. This isn't about escape. Malik turned to her. Then what is it about? Her answer was quiet, but unshaken. Continuation. Alia discovered a small auxiliary terminal, buried beneath schematic sheets. It contained one final encrypted message. She hesitated, then played it. A different voice spoke, calmer, analytical, the voice of scientist. If Earth has arrived, give them this ship. Don't treat it like a tomb. Make a beginning. The sentence struck each of them differently. Malik felt duty. Alia felt poetry. Kip felt pressure. Rhea felt resolve. She straightened her posture. We take the ship back. Deliver it to humanity, whether humanity is ready or not. Malik began preparing systems for departure. Fuel lines engaged. Stabilizers reactivated. Alia compiled transmission files, historical records, cultural notes, survival strategies, all formatted for dissemination to the Galactic Union. They feared humans, she said. Let them see why they shouldn't. Kip opened a wide frequency channel. Broadcasting now. Every language in the databanks. His fingers flew across the interface with controlled intensity. We're sending the message galaxy-wide. Class 3 didn't destroy humanity. It shaped it. Outside, the Krell fleet shifted formation again. Not hostile, not retreating. Waiting. Rhea understood. They weren't just gauging threat. They were reassessing everything they believed about survival. She spoke directly into comms. We are not conquerors. We are collaborators. And we come from a world that never guaranteed tomorrow. So we learned to build it ourselves. The Krell sent no words back, but their weapons powered down. Malik stared at the screens in disbelief. They're standing down. Completely. Alia nodded gently. Maybe they just needed someone to show them how many ways there are to survive. Kip leaned back. Diplomacy through engineering, he said. I can live with that. Rhea glanced at the viewport. Stars reflected across the hull in steady patterns, as though the universe had been waiting for this sentence. Tell Earth we made it. And more importantly, tell them how. A pulse of energy surged through the vessel. The echo of Arclight prepared for departure. Its systems aligned for the first time since its abandonment. Malik stabilized the reactor core, marveling at how the ship responded to every human instruction, like a creature rediscovering purpose. It's not just a relic, he said. It's a proof of concept. Alia stood near him. Proof that hardship doesn't just breed strength. It breeds connection. She leaned close to the terminal and whispered, thank you. Unsure if the ship could hear, Kip initiated launch protocols. If we survive this, he said, someone's going to ask how we made out alive. Rhea didn't turn when she answered. We'll tell them the truth. Malik finished the thought. We didn't escape. We built a way forward. Thrusters engaged. The ship rose through the moon's thin exosphere. The Krell ships parted to give them clear passage. Not submission, not alliance, respect. The echo of Arclight ascended into open space. Rhea tapped the comm one last time. To any species listening, the humans of Earth are coming. Not as rulers, as neighbors. Alia added softly. And if you welcome them, they'll bring light. Kip grinned as stars rolled into view. Let's return this ship to its creators. I bet they'll make it fly again. The vessel accelerated, scarred, battered, but alive. Not a monument. A message.